Where there is peace, there is culture. Where there is culture, there is peace. Positive creativeness is the fundamental quality of the human spirit. Let us welcome all those who, surmounting personal difficulties, propel their spirits to the task of peace building, thus ensuring a radiant future. We were needing to establish a field of peace building that involved what ordinary human beings are doing on a day-to-day basis, but there's nothing to call that field. Because if we are parenting in a way that is creating the best that a child can possibly bring into the world, their gifts, if we are contributing to our local community, if we are harmless towards self and others, if whatever we are doing, whatever pathway to peace we happen to be on, we are contributing to building a culture of peace, and we ourselves are peace builders. Because I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we could have an identity that we each we know each other by, that is, I'm not this and this and this, I'm this, and I'm also a peace builder. And in addition, I'm contributing to building a culture of peace, not only for myself and for everyone in my life and my community, but for future generations. It was really challenging times during the 80s and the beginning of the 90s, really challenging, to keep the International Day of Peace moving forward and to keep that idea and keep seeding it and keep explaining it. And we found that part of our role was constantly telling the story, educating, and engaging. And then the beautiful part about it was that then each person or each organization or whatever would take it up and say, this is a great idea, and then it would be involved in their organization, become part of their organization's annual focus point. We've done that a great deal.
And the internet then has been a tremendous...
It's a combination of two things. One, the fact that technology, the internet, now allows simultaneous communication, and the other is the raising awareness within humanity of the need for peace, and a greater sense that when you involve yourself in something this universal, is something that calls to the highest and best of all of our natures, and that, as we do in the Culture of Peace Initiative, it also honors and celebrates each individual participation and contribution in that, but that it also allows people personally and planetarily to know that there's an inseparability, and locally and globally there's an inseparability, and that we're all in this kind of movement together, that we don't feel so alone and so isolated. In 1983, we began convenings, i.e. peace councils, we call convenings, in the city of San Francisco, bringing representatives of different pathways or sectors to begin a process of planning what was going to happen on Peace Day in 1984. You know, we were kind of that one focus point hub.
Right.
But now that it's gone to become a movement, it's now self-organizing and self-arising.
And it's almost too big to keep track of.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So I would think by 2025, I'm saying that war will be obsolete, that there will be a culture of peace instead of violence. There are actually over 7 billion pathways, which are the number of human beings on the planet. For ease, we have 8 pathways or sectors. An example is peace through environmental sustainability, peace through conscious business, peace through education and media. The principle and action that we have used for the International Day of Peace is acting in concert. We do make a difference in the quality of our lives, our institutions, our environment, and our planetary future. Through cooperation, we manifest the essential spirit that unites us amidst our diverse ways. That the establishment of a lasting peace on earth represents the primary condition for the preservation of human civilization and the survival of humankind. and the recognizing that the maintenance of a peaceful life for peoples is a sacred duty of each state. This is pretty bold back in the Cold War, right?
Yeah.
And solemnly proclaims that the peoples of the planet have a sacred right to peace, and solemnly declares that the preservation of the right of peoples to peace and the promotion and implementation constitute a fundamental obligation of each state and each person. Now that is revolutionary at that time. So that followed on from this that was inspired by the resolution establishing the International Day of Peace. So this adds also a right to peoples to live in peace to what was the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Mm-hmm.
So we're beginning to see peace being understood not as something that happens because of war, but as something so much more profound, actually is a right of humanity and of this planet, and to be held as a sacred obligation.
Give peace a voice, let our hearts be heard, sounding our choice to love and preserve. There's a light in us all, a polished pearl. Give peace a voice, uniting nations of the world.